showing up on my feed so much throughout the years, and it just keeps getting view after view. So we're gonna have to check this one out. This one's called Fourth Dimension Explained by a High School Student. I think it's uploaded by the original maker of the video, and he has like 500,000 subscribers, 1.6 million likes on this, 32 million views. Well, that's cool. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Why did I minimize that? All right, let's watch the video, guys.
Imagine that this folder is a dimensional plane. Now, assuming that it is no height and no depth, what would this mean? It would mean that it's a one-dimensional world. So if, hypothetically, an organism was living inside of it, it would only be able to move in a linear path forward and backwards in a straight line.
Okay. I can kind of it's like a, I don't know, like a highway kind of, but not really.
Now, if we go to the second dimension, we have two dimensions. We have width and we have length. So hypothetically,
yeah, I put out so many videos, bro.
If an organism lived inside of here, then it would be able to move up, down, left, right, and anywhere else in between.
Wait, four dimension can move four sides?
A
Or is that
two-dimensional world is comprised of an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked upon each other. Just as our three-dimensional world, which has depth and length and height, is comprised of an infinite series of two-dimensional worlds. So this.
Yeah, I barely passed physics, guys. It was pretty hard for me. So if I don't, it's pretty
that I've
hard.
stacked many folders upon each other, we have three dimensions. We have depth, we have length, and we have width. Now what happens if you keep going on from here on out? We would have a four-dimensional world. But what exactly is a fourth dimension? In order to understand this, we need to understand how dimensions are perceived. We live in the three-dimensional world, but despite that, we actually view things to be two-dimensionally. Take a perfect sphere, for example.
Whoa, that's a cool spear, bro. I would have that in my room, but it'll probably roll around everywhere, bro. It's a cool glass spear.
It looks just like a regular two-dimensional circle. The only way that you can tell it's an actual sphere instead of a circle is because of the hues of light on it. So just like in a two-dimensional world, if a organism in the two-dimensional world was looking upon a circle, the light would make it appear to be lighter at one end and darker in the middle. Also,
I'm sorry, man. I just can't keep up with this, bro. He's too smart for me. I'm not gonna lie.
If an object is moving closer and farther away,
I'm getting a basic gist of it. That's about it.
From you don't actually perceive that it's getting closer and farther away. You see that it's getting smaller or larger.
Are you keeping up with this? It's hard for me, bro. He's saying the hues of light, bro. It's so hard for me. I'm not.
And then you assume that it's getting either farther away or closer. But let's say that an object was to grow in perfect equilibrium, so that it was growing at the same speed that it was shrinking as you move it farther away. Then you would not be able to tell, without any lights or if there were details on the object, that it's moving or growing at all. You may have assumed that since we perceive things to be in two dimensions, that a two-dimensional organism would see in one dimension. So, as we're watching this rubber band expand as it moves farther away from this little organism in the two-dimensional world, it does not actually perceive anything is happening to it because it's growing at the same speed that it's moving farther away. But since we can actually see it from the three-dimensional world and perceive things to be in two...
So it's getting bigger, right? It's not growing, it's not shrinking. What's going on? It's just moving away, right?
Two dimensions. We can see things...
That's why I didn't watch this video, because he made it super... He's making it super technical for me, bro.
For how they actually are. The reason that the two-dimensional organism doesn't see things the way they really are is because the two-dimensional organism sees things in...
Bro, if this was explained in like a 2-minute video, it'd be so much more like easier for me to digest, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
One dimension.
Like I need graphics on the screen.
Just how we, three-dimensional creatures, see things in two dimensions. So in a way, we don't really see our world
like an animated kind of style of video, because this is just
the way it truly
different.
is. A four-dimensional creature, however, seeing our three-dimensional world in three dimensions, would be able to see through things. It would be able to see absolutely everything, just as we could see if there was several organisms spread along a 2D environment on your floor. You would be able to see inside houses. You would be able to see inside of people. So if a two-dimensional world, a flat...
Now that would be trippy, bro. So it'd be transparent then if you could see through people, because it's. But he's going he's going like with the logic of speaking in numbers instead of like words. So it's like I don't know, like you know what I mean?
That surface is just made of an infinite amount of lines. Then the 3D world is just made out of an infinite amount of planes. So the 4D world, logically, is made out of an infinite amount of 3D objects. Though they're not just put together like you would like building blocks. That's not how the 4D world is. That would just be 3D again. So in order to understand this, we need to understand the logical progression of mathematics in our world. Imagine that this connects piece represents the first dimension. It's simply a straight line, which is basically what the first dimension looks like.
Yeah, I would need like an infograph, bro. If we got some infographs, it'd help explain a little. Everybody had their thing they were super smart about in high school. Mine wasn't this, guys. Not physics for me, for sure.
And if you add 3 more of these straight lines and connect them so that adjacent sides are perpendicular and opposite sides are parallel, then you have the basic shape of the second dimension. You have a square. Now if you keep going from here and you add it so that there's a total of 4 squares and all adjacent sides are perpendicular and all opposite sides are parallel, then you end up with, obviously, a cube. So, if you tried to keep going from here, and you would have a 4-dimensional basic shape, you would have what's called a tesseract. Now, I cannot show you a tesseract, but you need to understand that it's basically 4 cubes that are within each other that have all adjacent sides perpendicular and all opposite sides parallel. Yet there are 4 lines connecting to each vertex. So a tesseract would look somewhat like this picture. Now that's not exactly what it looks like because this is a...
Bro. I guess I can't grasp it because it's hard.
2-dimensional depiction, and obviously not all of the lines are straight. So I cannot show you what a tesseract actually looks like because we cannot perceive things in the 3rd dimension.
We can't even perceive things in the 3rd dimension, guys. Apparently. What?
You cannot even imagine what a tesseract looks like. You cannot in your mind picture the 4th dimension or a 4th dimensional shape. And you can keep going on from the 4th dimension even. You can go to the 5th dimension, the 6th dimension, the 71st dimension.
Dang, we're not even advanced it seems, bro. That's a we can't see things in the 3rd dimension.
It doesn't matter. Theoretically, there are an infinite amount of spatial dimensions. A common misconception of the 4th dimension is that the 4th dimension is time. Now, while some argue that by going forward and backwards in time, if you move forward the same distance and backwards the same, then you would end up in the same place you started, just like in the 4th dimension. And while that may seem logical, if you think about it, it really doesn't make sense. If you imply that the 4th dimension is actually time, well, first of all, time is not spatial. There's a difference between space and time, quite obviously. And assuming that all dimensions are according to a pattern, then that doesn't really make sense either, because saying the 4th dimension is time, every dimension has time in it. So that would mean that the 4th dimension is special in some way, which doesn't really make any sense. Another reason this
Yes, definitely.
doesn't make sense is that we very, very, very slightly travel through time whenever we move due to the distance that light takes to get to our body. Now, if a group of astronauts were to get in a spaceship and they were to go very, very, very close to the speed of light, then they went around in this impossible nearly the speed of light spaceship for a few months, and then afterwards they returned to Earth. They would
Yeah, bro, we gotta look at some of the top comments after this.
find that Earth had actually progressed a few years, so they had moved forward in time by moving that quickly. Another interesting concept involving the fourth dimension is that many physicists and even mathematicians may say that the dimensions are very, very slightly curved. Because
So how's he explaining it if we can't perceive it? That's the thing. That's just the thing I'm I'm trying to understand here.
if you really think about it, nothing
If
can
we
be
can't think third dimensionally, how's he explaining the fourth dimension?
truly, absolutely infinite. So imagine that the first dimension, the line, is just very, very slightly curved, so that after a very long time, it will end up creating a circle. So, as suggested by many physicists, if you keep going in the same direction, then you will end up where you are, where you started after a very, very long amount of time, obviously. And the same thing would happen to the second dimension. If it's just a square, and then you extend it very, very slightly in a curve, then it will eventually make a sphere. And the same thing happens in our dimension, except it will form a very, very slightly curved third dimension, which will form a four-dimensional universe, basically. So what this kind of means is that our three-dimensional world is within a four-dimensional world, and the four-dimensional world is within a fifth-dimensional world, and so on.
Yes, so the numbers are connected.
Now, I did say that nothing can be truly infinite, but if this is true, and a dimension is really within another dimension, within another dimension, within another dimension, then I'm implying
Always, like the numbers, it's a one number after the other. That's what it seems like here, right?
that there's an infinite amount of dimensions, which is the only problem I really have with this theory. I'm not sure if it ever stops or if infinity is really even possible. We don't know that. Thanks for watching
If we can perceive it, I think it's possible. We gotta be optimistic here.
my video, and I hope this gave you a better idea of what the fourth dimension is.
Partially. Didn't ask for any subs. But yeah, nice video. It's by XKCD Hat Guy, guys. But let's go. Let's read a few of the comments before actually ending this. This kid explained science better than many teachers. 13 years later, this is one of the best explanations I have found. He's diligent. He's that diligent person who explains without making us feel dumb. It made me feel dumb, I'm not gonna lie. This guy actually amazed me so much 10 years ago that I have now gotten my major physics. He explained everything without any help of animations. He used things present near him. It was so easy for us to understand and try to explain. Such a genius guy. When he's late for class, the teacher apologizes for being early. Yeah, I guess only the physics majors are watching this, guys. But yeah, interesting video. Let's see if he still uploads, guys. Uploads. Looks like he has a few more, videos about stuff. But no, last video was 9 years ago. He might still be like just around, just doesn't post. But yeah, interesting video. Check him out in the description. That's his most viewed. It seems to be going very viral. Like, seems a lot of people have been watching his latest video that was 9 years ago. We can react to more videos, but that was the video, guys. Peace out, everyone. Let me know your thoughts down below about this stuff. And see you next one.